views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey everybody, it's time for the Bronx Buzz. This is the program where we talk to journalists and writers and photographers. And in this case, we're going to be talking to a BronxNet producer that you're really going to enjoy meeting. And the idea is to give you some insight, find out who's saying what, who's doing what, and find out what really is behind the things that they write and publish in our beautiful borough of the Bronx. And we're thrilled to have back with us the assignment editor at the Bronx Times Reporter. It is my buddy Patrick Rocchio.
Hey, how's it going?
Always good to have you on the show. I'm launching right in. No introduction. Last two times he was here, I was telling him how great the paper is and all that. But I want to launch right into this question of an animal shelter that has been proposed at Co-op City, if I remember correctly.
Right.
The community board voted, we don't like the idea, but there are some very passionate animal advocates who say, you know what, this is our chance. Put it right there on Bartow Avenue in Co-op City. What do you think?
Well, it's a very controversial issue in the community of Co-op City. There was a lot of opposition. There were two community board hearings. One was a meeting/hearing. One was a ULURP hearing, and there was a lot of community opposition to it. It appears that some of it may. I certainly don't want to play, either side here.
Let me go through it. The issue is they don't allow dogs or pets in Co-op City.
Except service animals.
Except service, of course, in Co-op City to begin with. So people are saying, if I can't have a dog in my apartment, why are you going to be shuttling dogs through there? That's number one. Number two, this piece of land supposedly for years was supposed to be a community center or some other facility, and they're saying, wait a minute, we're finally getting something built. Why are we, thinking about an animal shelter?
All right, so there's a couple of things to understand about this particular project. One is it's designed to be a new concept in animal shelters. They want to put it at 2050 Bartow Avenue,
that's where it is,
which is right next to a Red Lobster, next to the Bay Plaza Mall. And the idea being, if you put an animal shelter in a place like that, instead of putting it into an industrial area or where they're normally found, you would get more foot traffic, more adoptions, more people come in for services. They're less likely to abandon their pets because they have low-cost services. And it's just a better idea.
Because it's integrated within a community, and frankly, a busy community.
Very busy, very busy. Most of the people who spoke at those two community board hearings were from Co-op City were very much opposed to the plan.
CB10.
At CB10. At CB10. There's going to be another hearing now as part of the ULURP process. But they were very much opposed for much of the reason you said, which was basically that Co-op City really does not allow pets except for service animals, and it seemed that
why are we bearing that burden?
Why do we have to have this here? I also hear from some of the community animal rights advocates that there's also issues with competing use, which is not really a surprise.
What do you mean by competing use?
Well, another developer wants the project for something else.
That was, I think, the latest. Maybe I read that in your paper. I don't even remember, but that there is a developer ready to do it. And finally, and listen, we need youth services in Co-op City. I mean, we need them everywhere. It doesn't matter where in the Bronx. But if you're going to do that, it's hard to turn away from that.
I think it would be some kind of affordable housing with a community element.
I see. That's interesting. Affordable housing in Co-op City that has nothing to do with River Bay.
It wouldn't be River Bay.
And then on the other side, so here you are, the city of New York. We it's the only borough without an animal shelter and all
I
that.
think there actually is one that doesn't. I'm not sure if it's Queens or is it
Oh,
Brooklyn?
another one that doesn't?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I know that the Bronx doesn't.
The Bronx certainly doesn't.
So if this, and that's what I think the animal rights advocates are concerned about. If this gets turned down, they're going back to the drawing board, and how many years will it take until we get a new?
Right.
I mean, so
A new
so in
plan.
other words, maybe they, on some level, I don't want to read into what anybody's thinking. On some level, they agree that, well, I understand why it's not the perfect spot, but they know if this gets nixed, they're back to square one.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's what the animal rights advocates say. They say that the mayor's office isn't giving a plan B, though they have looked at other sites, and I have a list of some of the sites they looked at.
In the Bronx, right? No plan. This is where it's going. Sorry.
They're pretty firm on not having a plan B. The community board asked for a plan B. There were some other sites that they looked at. They did provide a list, which I've obtained recently, but it doesn't look like they're going to budge on the site, and that's the mayor's office.
So then, if again, so those animal rights advocates are correct. So today we're taping this on Thursday. So Thursday evening is the hearing in front of the borough president. Is that who's going to be?
Yeah, there should be a hearing.
And he hasn't weighed in, as far as I understand.
Yeah, I'm not sure when the actual decision on that will come, and then again, that's part of a larger ULURP process. Right. So then it would go on from there. So it goes on and on.
Try to get something done, right? Is that what we're trying to do? Anyway, you are a City Island resident. There's been a whole movement now as far as traffic on City Island. Supposedly, many residents over there agree that if we could finally get some officers or traffic agents out there, we can move traffic through a little better.
Right.
Do you buy that? Has it been successful so far?
Well, I mean, there has been a long-standing program which was sort of, it was unclear whether it was going to be around this year, where traffic agents have been directing traffic at busy times, mainly on weekends, in that area, all along the approach to City Island and actually on the island itself. They recently came up with a new plan where they would have, I think it's 6 traffic agents. They would go up and down in these small smart cars up and down the avenue in case of double parking and things like that.
So to really try and move things, I'm gonna give you my solution to this problem.
Okay.
I've actually personally posted it on various Facebook pages. I have met with City Island residents and talked about it. My idea is you get everybody to park on Orchard Beach, and then you set up a trolley system.
Sure.
And so people going for dinner on a beautiful summer Saturday night, and I invite you to go to City Island this weekend, on a beautiful summer Saturday night, they park their cars at Orchard Beach. They jump on a trolley that is designed, and then of course whether they can go down the center emergency lane or you work that out,
Right.
and they go back and forth and bring people back and forth. And to make it even more palatable, in that trolley, either you put videos about City Island, you put up ads for City Island businesses, so people saying, gee, I didn't know they had that downtown, or whatever, and then all of a sudden everybody's happy. The word that I heard about that it's been suggested before, and people don't believe people will get out of their cars and take the trolley. I can tell you, if I was going to City Island, and I go plenty, if I was going on a Friday night or Mother's Day, don't ever go Mother's Day night, and knew there was going to be traffic, I would have no problem. It would be enjoyable to park at Orchard Beach, jump in the trolley, and drive back and forth. That's my.
It's okay. It's okay.
You like the idea?
I think it's a pretty good idea. I mean, it would require a lot of planning.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
A lot of work.
Yeah.
You need to, we have a Bronx trolley somewhere. You could.
Sure.
The trolley is out there somewhere. Anyway, so that's my pet thing. You think at the moment that is the status quo, is that they'll have those traffic agents, and that's how they're going to try to move it through?
Well, I think what happened was there was a little bit of doubt. Normally, the traffic agents are police officers in some cases that were transferred from the schools division, which is, there's not school during the summer, so they come over there and do traffic. But they also, also have traffic agents, I believe, as well.
Right.
So,
to me, that's a temporary solution. I could see on some nights it'll move things through. Again, I'm pushing my own agenda on that.
Right.
Anyway, I'm looking through the paper. I love to read, of course, the Bronx Times. And you had a story about the $10 million revitalization,
Right.
the downtown revitalization initiative that the governor has put forth for the South Bronx. Listen, all monies are good monies, right?
Sure, sure.
Any
I'll take
thoughts
it.
on that?
Well, there's 12 projects, and they vary in size. One of them is to build like a promenade, on near 149th Street and the Grand Concourse, sort of linking the 3rd Avenue area with the Grand Concourse area, which would be nice, a pedestrian walkway. There's also money for storefront improvements, for renovating space above like ground level shops, facade improvement. There's a number of different projects that are being funded, including developing on 149th Street.
The Roberto Clemente Plaza is one of them.
Developing 2 eateries in the plaza itself.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, which is nearing completion.
Listen, I'm just looking at Patrick's work, by the way, and it says there's $250,000 to develop cafes at Roberto Clemente Plaza.
Sure.
Goodness gracious, get that thing done. I mean, it's been 10 years that they've been trying to build that plaza in a community that could use that so desperately.
Oh, yeah, it's really congested in that area.
It's congested, and of course you've got many businesses. You want them all to do better. Anyway, we're just about out of time, Patrick. What's coming up? What are we going to see next? Can you give us a sneak preview?
Well, it is the summer. But there's a lot.
So don't push us.
No. There's a lot going on. I mean, there's this thing with the animal shelter. In August, we're going to get a ferry.
Oh,
in
the
Soundview.
ferry. Yeah. That's going to be. Listen, the more the better. Get us out of our cars and everything else.
And now Councilman Joe Nye is calling for a ferry to Throgs and that as well at Ferry Point Park.
So why not make the stop?
Yeah.
And
And
we'll find out.
he
All
says.
right, we got to throw you out of
X,
here.
Y, and Z.
Patrick Rocchio from the
All
Bronx
right.
Times. Always a pleasure.
All right,
Here's
super.
the paper. It is the Bronx Times Reporter. You can find them online at bxtimes.com. You can find the paper all over the Bronx. Always great to have you. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Gary.
Great. Guess what happens now? We're going to take a short break, and then we'll come back. You're going to meet a very dynamic person who runs, produces, and hosts a fascinating, wonderful BronxNet television show. Don't go away.
All right.
Sure, I look cute now, but when my owner lost his job, it was rough. I was living on the street, and one night, me and this Cocker Spaniel got into it so bad, I wound up looking like an ice cream cone. I cried a little bit, but thankfully I got rescued, so I'm running, I'm jumping, all back to my old self. And I'm ready to give unconditional love, even if you put a lampshade on my head.
It's not always easy being a dad.
Do you have panda asthma too? Does that run in the family? This is the home of the most priceless kung fu artifacts.
But when you make an effort,
Dad, we're not supposed to touch anything. Oh, sorry. Go along, son.
it's always worth it.
Whoa! Master!
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
I am gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
Oh my God, go! Oh, Shane, look out!
Hey, back with you on the Bronx Buzz, and drum roll please, we have somebody who's not only named by a name, but it is Kitty Rose and the Kitty Rose lifestyle. It's a whole package. Nice to have Kitty Rose with us. Welcome.
Hey, nice. Thank you.
You
guys
made it.
for
You made
having
it. She
me.
was
I
saying,
made
I
it.
want to be on the Bronx Buzz, and she did.
Well, I actually just wanted to be on the same stage with you.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what you really needed to do. Talk to me a little bit about you to start.
Okay.
How and why did you get started with a TV show which people can see on BronxNet television called Natural Sessions?
Yes. I've been in the Kitty Rose light. Well, thank you. Here's my camera. I've been a Bronx resident for about 20 years now, but I've never taken advantage of anything in the Bronx. I started my business in Harlem. I'm from Brooklyn, so everything was opposite or outside of the Bronx, outside of my kids going to school. But when it was time to see what was next in the elevation of my life and my business, I said, you know what, I need to take advantage and see what the Bronx has to offer.
Right.
And I found out about BronxNet from another fellow producer at the time. Wasn't a fellow producer, but someone who was producing television. I had just stopped producing radio. So this was like the next component to get into TV, but how can I learn the skills, get access to equipment, get access to
I have the answer to that question. It's BronxNet
was
television.
BronxNet
That is,
television.
I mean, we have many, multifaceted missions, but
Right.
that is one of our missions, to take Bronxites like you and do what we're doing.
Exactly. So I found out, I went online, found out about what was needed, saw that it really wasn't anything at all, took the classes and didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but once I figured it out, took the ball and ran with it, and now I'm in my third season.
Third season, and we're all a part of the Kitty Rose lifestyle right now. Tell me first about Natural Sessions, and then I do want to talk about the concept. Like if you see her business card, it says Kitty Rose Lifestyle. So first, Natural Sessions, what is that?
Natural Sessions is a raw style, documentary style talk show. And I say that because we're usually on location, but outside of most talk shows that just have the conversation, we provide the what's next. Now that you've gotten the light bulb moment, what do you do with that? What tools are you given so that you can fix the solutions or get the solutions needed to life experiments?
When you say, that light bulb moment, what sort of a moment is that? When you graduate high school, for example, is that the kind of thing?
That could be, but I think as adults, through trial and error, maybe by the time we get into our 40s, we get that light bulb moment to what our purpose is or to
Takes a little
why
while
we
to
did.
get there.
It does take a little while because I think that you know what you want to do, but the mistakes along the way or the experiments along the way, you end up being harder on yourself than you maybe should be or need to be. But then you get that light bulb and it was like, oh, that wasn't that hard. That wasn't that complicated.
So the ding, the
Right.
light bulb lights. Then what kinds of recommendations do you make? Is it a matter of advice or it's a matter of thought process? Tell me what would be a next step for somebody who gets kind of a lifetime revelation.
Well, two ways. It's a conversation, it's not an interview. So what happens in the conversation is that person has been vulnerable to share their experiences in life. And what happens then is that someone in the audience begins to see their story that they thought only was theirs in someone else. And how that person got out of it or understood or maintained or continued through is usually how someone says, oh, maybe that's another way of looking at it. Maybe that's something else I can do. So it's not really a structured, here are your tools.
Right.
It's more of the conversation, and then someone's like, wow, I'm not alone.
So you started out by talking about you go to different locations. What kind of location would you go to, for example? Other than here.
Well, for example, I shoot Lehman College or Lehman campus, where our other studio is
We're
at.
Bronx, we shoot this at the Mercy College campus, just to be clear.
We have a beautiful gazebo on campus.
Right.
So I shoot at the gazebo a lot of times. And then there's a restaurant in Brooklyn also that I shoot at called Itao Kitchen. And then I also go to people's location, especially if it's an artist or a journalist. I'll go to the paper, I'll go to the studio, I'll go to where that person is at so we can see them in their element as they share with us their story.
Because then it becomes more relatable, it's more credible because you say, hey, here's really who
Right.
you are.
And it makes that person comfortable because now they're not in that studio setting where they may normally be.
Right, like which is what I tried to do to you to make you on, but you're doing fine. You love this.
Yes.
Why
I
do you
do.
love this?
Why not? It's television.
Oh, believe me, I can tell you it ain't all cracked up. It's all cracked up to me.
I love it, one, because the feedback, really, because this is not easy. It's very hard. The tools and the equipment that BronxNet gives us are great, but it's hard to collaborate, it's hard to book, it's hard to edit, it's hard to shoot with that equipment. It's hard, but the feedback when I'm walking in the street and someone stops me almost every day and says,
I saw your show.
I saw your show.
The show
Thank
is
you.
Thursday nights, Wednesday
Wednesday.
nights. It's at midnight, and that's
Right.
where people, it's technically
Right.
Thursday. But it is Wednesday night on
At 12
channel.
a.m. 68.
On 68, on BronxNet 68.
Yes.
And I'm going to just say it. Kitty is very enthusiastic about what BronxNet Television did
Yes.
for her to get her to this point. Talk to me about, and we have a video to show, by the way, which you're going to enjoy. Talk to me about this idea of lifestyle, Kitty Rose lifestyle. What is that lifestyle? Talk to me about what
That's
all that
such
means.
a broad statement, too,
I
because
know,
people
but
always
you-
say lifestyle.
I took it from
but
you.
I'm
You
glad
didn't
you
get it from
did,
me.
because I think to narrow it down and identify actually what that means, lifestyle, people say it's a brand, it's a way. I started the Kitty Rose lifestyle in 2006, and the Kitty Rose lifestyle is anything and everything that I, as an artist, is able to do with collaborating community activism work that I can do to still maintain structure and to be a full-time parent with my children and make an income, make a living. So that's why I say lifestyle, because it's literally everything that I can do in my life to keep it going.
And in order to maintain, and now the responsibilities and activities that Kitty just mentioned, everybody's juggling with, or many people are juggling with. Your point is, if you adopt a certain lifestyle and incorporate all that in there, you can do it.
Yes and no. My point is,
I
I've
tried
been
my
able
best.
to. The point is, I've been able to create my life to the structure of what it is I want to do. So good, bad, and different, trials up and down, it's all my decision. When I left corporate America, everything that I've been able to do has been such a blessing because it has been able to get done. So that's why I say my lifestyle, because it's how I've chosen to live.
But you can learn a method from
Yes.
that. All right, so now what video are we going to see? What is this?
You are going to see a video that my editing team...
She actually had the light bulb moment. She lit up like a light bulb.
My editing team, again, that I was able to be beautifully blessed with through BronxNet, the Brown Lotus. She is another producer, and she made this promo video to let folks know about natural sessions and as I sip my morning coffee.
And the Kitty Rose lifestyle. So drum roll, and we're going to let it rip. Let's let it rip.
Hey world, what's good? It's your girl Kat from the Kitty Rose Lifestyle. Every day, you know you gotta hustle, baby. You can't knock the hustle, baby. Yeah.
We need more real men to teach these young men how to be men.
You know, we kind of connecting in a real way. I just don't
Do you
know.
think the potential to connect on a real way is there? Because I think what happens sometimes is that it's safe to disconnect.
You want to be known as a backward chick? Or you want to or you want to be known as a knowledgeable chick who has decided to make a decision in her life and choose what she's willing to deal with.
As I sip my morning coffee,
Having my morning coffee.
My morning coffee. And if I say that, oh, I got one white friend, then what makes my comment any less racist than the white person making that comment?
The revolution has begun. This is your girl Kat. Alright, you guys, be well. Peace.
And I have to say, this is pretty good coffee.
All right, there it is. If we had a studio audience, they'd be standing and applauding Kitty Rose and her very special video. Thank you so much for presenting it. So let's just wrap up. We don't have a lot of time.
Right.
So we're going to watch Natural Sessions.
Wednesday.
Every Wednesday night.
Yes.
You do a new one every week?
I do a new one every week,
Wow.
yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And then what's next? Just more of the same?
Well, what's next is...
And then I got a punchline at the end of this. Go
What's
ahead.
next is I'm getting ready to produce my second show for BronxNet. But really, what's really next is what happened to me last night. Again, because of using
Can
BronxNet.
we say this? I don't know.
Well, because I shot this on BronxNet equipment.
Ah, there
You know what I mean? So I shot my first documentary film.
Oh,
and
you were telling me that. Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was screened last night at the Newark Black Film Festival. But a lot of my shooting was done on BronxNet equipment.
Television.
Yeah.
And the punchline that I have, you get the award for the best earrings of the best earrings of any guest we've had, and I've never worn them on the show, and so
I do my best. No.
Kitty Rose, if anybody wants to see you online or find you online or YouTube, or what do we do?
Please visit my YouTube channel. It's Miss Kitty Rose 1. That's MSKITTYROSE, the number 1. I don't know which camera I'm
This
looking
one,
at.
this
Okay.
one, doesn't matter.
That one.
We all see it.
Yeah, but Miss Kitty Rose 1 on YouTube. But the best place to catch me is Wednesday nights, 12 a.m. on BronxNet, channel 68.
There it is.
Yeah.
Kitty Rose, what a joy to have you.
Thank
Good luck
you.
with everything that
I
you're doing.
appreciate you.
Energizing here in the Bronx, and that's
Why
what we
not?
need a lot of that.
Why do
You
we
see,
need to
I
be
like
quiet
that.
and dull? Who does
Oh,
that?
yeah.
I thought y'all Bronx up in here.
Not around here. All right, so that's going to do it for us, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. So we will see you next week for the Bronx Buzz. Monday night on Bronx Talk, an unbelievable show. Bobby Sanabria, the great Bronx percussionist, has put out a CD of reimagining West Side Story. And so we got an exclusive. We're going to play the CD. I know they're telling me to wrap up, but I got to tell you. And then Jamie Bernstein, Leonard Bernstein's daughter, is going to come in and talk about West Side Story, her new book about her father. Monday night for Bronx Talk at 9 o'clock. Good night. See you.
This is a man.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at BronxNet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.